There you go.
Yeah.
So I guess then you probably are like a decaf coffee drinker then too, or something like that.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves there, Scott. Why would I?
Welcome to the Exploring Washington State podcast. Here's your host, Scott Cowan.
Welcome. My guest today is Rami Nasr of From the Ground Up Socks. Thank you for making this happen and welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Scott.
All right, now that we got that out of the way. Okay, so how did you get started? Tell me your backstory about your hiking company and the socks. Let's go from that.
Yeah, so just a quick rundown. From the Ground Up is a Pacific Northwest-based outdoor brand. We create high-performance and stylish gear that gives back to protect our trails and public lands. So the idea for this brand really started after I was graduating from college. I was on a backpacking trip with a few friends of mine. 3-day trip throughout the North Cascades. I packed the wrong pair of socks like a fool. I was wearing those like skinny, like thin Nike socks on a 3-day backpacking trip, which any hiker out here is going to know like what a mistake that was. So yeah, I definitely like blistered my feet when I was up there, and it was kind of embarrassing. I had to have my friends help me like down the mountain. Thankfully, they complied. But when I got back, I started to do some research into like what really good hiking socks were. So I found that this material is called merino wool, is actually the best material that you can use in a pair of hiking socks. So I was looking around. We have like Darn Tough, we have Smart Wool, we have all these like major sock companies that are doing merino wool. But everything I found, I was just like not really stoked on. Like it was very boring. They're kind of thick, itchy, kind of ugly. And I knew this about myself, but I was like, the outdoor industry is booming, right? And apparel is becoming more versatile. You can wear like a North Face jacket on a hike, or you can wear it just in the city. And so I noticed as younger generations like myself come in and start hiking. We have I think there's about 12 million new hikers that were added in the last 10 years across the nation. So it's been an exponential growth in people getting outdoors. So I figured, everything's changing and becoming more versatile, but the things that remains relatively the same are just our socks. And they're arguably the most important piece of gear that you can have when you're out in the mountains. So I decided that, being the Washington-born kid that I am, we've been blessed being around so many beautiful mountains and nature scenes here that I decided to, throw on the mountains that I wrecked my feet on a pair of socks.
Okay.
So I started out making the design for the Cascade Range hiking sock. Now I wanted the sock to be much more than just a sock. Like, it's not just a good quality hiking sock, but it has to do good. It has to be a good overall holistic product. So we built a relationship with the Washington Trails Association. And sorry, I always do this "we speak me" thing where I was like, it's like we did this, we did that. I was like, no, it's all me. It was just me. So I reached out to Washington Trails Association and told them about this little business that I was starting up with these socks. And I said, hey, I want to give you guys a donation for every sock sold. Is it okay for me to use your name on my packaging? And, usually when somebody hears you want to give them money, they're like, yeah, okay, there's some wiggle room. Yeah. So we ended up doing a 5% donation. I did a lot of sourcing on of the material, a lot of research and time spent figuring out, what material is sustainable, what isn't going to harm the planet in its production. And so I ended up finding this sock factory out in North Carolina, who they just had such a wealth of information on like wool and different materials. And so we were able to work together to actually create a proprietary blend that we now call our Incrediwool blend. And it's a blend of merino wool and polypropylene. Polypropylene, for people who don't know, it's a synthetic, but it's an eco-friendly synthetic that doesn't leach toxic chemicals during production. And it actually replicates the effects of merino wool, but it's the material that makes the sock incredibly breathable, moisture wicking, helps prevent blisters, and overall it keeps the sock as it's kind of like a temperature regulating. So you can wear it in the summertime, you can wear it in the winter, your foot will feel fine year round. So yeah. Wow, how did we get on this tangent already? I'm already talking about
I don't know.
material.
We went down the rabbit hole, but that's cool.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. My first question out of all of that is you made the statement that merino wool is the best for socks.
Yeah.
Back that up. Why is merino wool considered the best material for socks?
Yeah.
I'm not trying to challenge you. I'm just asking for details.
No, that's great. That's great. I've done a lot of research on merino wool. So, so merino wool is naturally antimicrobial and antibacterial. So it really helps in preventing, foot fungi, wicking away moisture, and it retains your body sweat without trapping it in there. So there's a thing where people can people say this, but like you can step in a puddle of water with a merino wool sock on, and it's not going to feel nearly as miserable as any other material. And that's kind of a good test. I'm not recommending that everybody goes out and just stomps in puddles with their socks and they're like, this guy lied to us. My feet feel terrible. But that's kind of the idea behind it. So naturally antimicrobial, antibacterial. It's very sustainable. There's no harmful practices in collecting merino wool. It's kind of like you give a sheep a haircut, right? They need haircuts.
They do. So what's the difference between merino wool and wool?
Yeah. The merino wool comes from a specific type of sheep. I guess it's the merino sheep.
Okay. That's what I'm asking you.
You got me. Okay. But it is definitely it's a different sheep. It's a specific type of sheep.
Okay. All right. So we've got these sustainable socks. Mm-hmm. You put the Cascade Mountain Range on the first design.
Yep.
Being made in North Carolina.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now where are we at? What comes next?
Yeah. So next. So pretty much what I did at that point was obviously I had my small sample size of socks. And I just took them to an event with Washington Trails Association. They were having this thing called a hike-a-thon, which is it's a really cool thing in the month of August where you can basically you log your miles on your hikes and you can have people donate based off of how many miles you hike. And at the end of the month, they have a big gathering of people where they share their, who hiked the most miles during this month, how much money was raised, all that. So they gave me a tabling spot there, which is awesome because I got immediately put in front of the right audience. And it was funny, man. Like I had like my little fold out table and like a little tote full of like these socks with some weird like craft paper packaging on them. And I just stood there and I started like hawking them to like the people over there. People are like, who's this guy? Like, I have no idea. Why is he charging me like $20+ for a pair of socks? And I was like, you're right. Why am I charging you $20 for a pair of socks? But, after people started to feel the sock and they actually could tell, oh, this is actually a good quality sock, it justified the price because merino wool is not cheap. It's definitely a quality product, but it's built to last you for a long time, for years of use. So, yeah.
And so these, I'm interrupting. I apologize.
No, you're good.
So these are long last. You kind of skipped over the long lasting component of them as well. So
forgot to mention that.
Great. I'm not going to get a hole in it or anything like that right away. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And actually a good test for that. We really tested the socks out to make sure that they were really good quality. So I think it was like April of 2019. We got reached out to on Instagram by this girl. Her name was Julia Sheehan, and she reached out to me on Instagram because she was going to be hiking the Appalachian Trail over on the East Coast, basically a 2,200 mile stretch of trail, spans from Georgia to Maine. She'd never gone hiking before. She'd never done any through hikes. So this is like totally like a first time for her as well. So I kind of felt a connection with her because I was like, we're both very new in what we're doing. But she asked if we could throw her a couple pairs of socks and she'll go up and down the trail and talk to people about her stuff. And I was like, yeah, sure. Here's a couple pairs of socks. Like, let's see what happens. And she just blew me away with like how much value she added to the brand. It's like, I don't think that we'd actually be who we are without the story of Julia. And so she wore our socks the entire time, all the way up and down that Appalachian Trail. And she was taking photos in there and she was like vlogging and she was like recording her trip. And I saw her following go on Instagram from like 2,000 to like 18,000 by the end of her trip. And I mean, she was sending us photos. And so we started a whole campaign called Where's Julia? And we kind of give some people, we give some people some updates. We're like, hey, she's over here doing this, like this many miles logged on our socks. And I think it was like a 6-month hike. by the end of it, obviously the socks that we'd sent her, the initial pairs that we'd sent her, were still there. Like they're still intact. They worked out perfectly. So she started to only wear our brand. I asked if she would do like a review video for us. And she did this amazing 4-minute review video for me, talking about the quality of the sock, how much she loves them, like the give back aspect. And now when you go and look at our packaging, we have a little QR code on the back, and it says durable for over 2,000 miles. And then you can read the story of Julia on there. And that's what we have selling now when we're sold at a bunch of locations across Washington. You can actually QR the story back there. You can see the review video. So really she did kind of put our socks on the map. So that's
cool.
Yeah.
All sorts of questions come to mind, but let's start with, since you just said you can be found in stores around Washington, give us an example. Where can people in the state find you?
Yeah. So we're available at every PCC across Washington.
PCC.
Yeah. PCC.
I'm going to go buy my groceries and pick up some socks.
You got it. Exactly.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. They have a health and wellness section.
That's true.
Yeah. I walked through one day and they had Darn Tough socks and I was like, that's not right. So, so we went in and I basically, we got a deal signed with them. I think it was right in time for the holiday season. Okay. They just blew us away with how many sales they made over the holidays. It was great. So we're at every PCC. There's 15 across Washington State. We're also in a bunch of small retail shops across Washington or Seattle. So if you go to the Sock Monster over in Wallingford or Ascent Outdoors in Ballard, you can find us there. We're at every Greg Cycle Shop, Super Jock and Jill, the running shoe store. And then if you're over on the peninsula, you can find us over at this cute little outdoor shop called Los Angeles. Yeah, it's great. It's over in Port Angeles. Yeah. If you didn't get that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have anything over in Eastern Washington at this time?
Not at this time. But, we're always trying to expand more shops carrying us. So if anybody listening to the podcast has an idea, feel free to shoot me a message on Instagram, and I definitely would love to get in touch.
All right. So we started off, let's see, with one sock design.
Yep.
I'm on your website. I see more than one design. Mm-hmm. So what's your design process? Where do you get your inspiration? And walk us through that.
Yeah, totally. So, obviously we started out with the one design, the Cascade range, and then slowly over time, started wanting to get more designs in. So we got our Evergreen State design, which is basically just evergreen trees on our forest green body sock. And then we had our Mount Pilchuck sock, which is it's a mountain that's close to my hometown, Lake Stevens. And it was the mountain that I grew up hiking on, but there's a little lookout tower up there. So we threw some lookout tower socks there. So those are the next two designs that I created. Sold those at a bunch of farmers markets, sold them through our website, and then just slowly started to introduce more and more designs. So, I wanted to hit all the major volcanoes here in Washington. So we got our Mount Rainier sock, we got our Mount Baker sock. We just brought in the Olympic design. So we have the Olympic mountain range now. I just did Glacier Peak, Mount Adams, and Mount St. Helens. And we did a pair of compression socks as well, because why not? So,
well, how'd you do the compression socks? Because that's a little bit different. There's some technology involved there.
Yeah.
What was the process that you did on the compression socks?
Yeah, totally. So the sock mill that we work with, they do a bunch of different socks, right? So they have all sorts of areas of expertise. But compression socks are something that I definitely wanted to bring in, just because I know the health benefits of having them, promoting the blood flow, helping to prevent blood clots. But specifically for me, I'm a big outdoor skier. Like I love downhill skiing. It's like my favorite sport. Every single pair of socks that I wore in my boots, they would bunch up. They would blister my shins. So, I knew that there were a couple of major brands out there doing compression wool ski socks, but they were selling for $50, $60. And so, yeah, I know. I was like, okay, money time. All right. But I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make it more accessible for more people, so that more people could reap the benefits of compression socks. So we worked with our factory down there to get a pair of our socks. We call them the front runners. I think they're about $35 a pair, but they're an all black sleek sock option. Same level, same like incredible material, goes up to the knee, helps prevent blood flow or prevent blood clots from happening. But for me specifically, it really does help with my performance on the mountain. And the fact that they're so skin tight on my leg, it doesn't feel like it's constricting my leg at all. Actually, it feels like it's supporting for sure. But I can tighten my boots way more now because of that thin material. And it just adds to my performance on the mountain. So, what used to be like a 8 to noon day and then go get beers at the lodge turned out to be like an 8 to 5 day. So I'd be skiing all day. I'd feel great afterwards. They're my go-to ski socks. I absolutely love wearing them. I highly recommend people try out compression wool socks.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You've got some, face masks and t-shirts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How, unfortunately I'll ask the question, how are the masks doing? I mean, given the last year has been interesting for everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I created the masks out of the need for them. So I wasn't initially starting out my business thinking, I'm going to make face masks and it's going to be great. But,
yeah.
Yeah. None of us expected this much to be happening. So, but we did. I was fortunate enough to find a supplier who was manufacturing face masks. And I figured, we put that Pacific Northwest twist on it as well, while still helping to protect people and, have people, wear masks. But we actually I started out creating the Mount St. Helens topo mask. So it's a topographic design of Mount St. Helens. And it was actually did it because it was coming up on the 40th year anniversary of the eruption, which was on like May 18th, I believe. So yeah, got those face masks in, started selling them at a farmer's market, sold out instantly. And then just, decided to say, screw it. Let's get all the topo maps of the mountains here. So we have the Mount Baker topo map. We got our Mount Rainier topo. And we also have our Evergreen State topo mask. And super high quality. They wrap behind your head instead of behind your ear, so it doesn't pull on your ear all day. And we use a double layer of Lycra, so it's very breathable, very comfortable. It doesn't feel constrictive, which is really good. A lot of people actually enjoy that feature, and it's got a lot of coverage. Like it covers like most of your face, which is great. So yeah, we started selling those. PCC picked those up too, so that did really well for us. And then now we're doing a buy two get two free bundle online on our website that's live. We just actually launched that this week. So it's definitely been good. I hope that we're going to be done wearing masks soon, as I'm sure everybody else is. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. But until then, we got masks. So.
All right.
Yeah.
So what's next? Is there something next for you? What's, you're from the ground up, so I guess we can go upwards. So what else you got?
Yeah. So, as you saw on the website, we do have pocket t-shirts. Actually, I'm sporting right now one of our newest products. It's not on the website yet, but it's our merino wool beanies. So again, super high quality merino wool. It's got a little patch on there that says protect our trails. They're very stylish, very, very comfortable beanies that I'm wearing. And we have 6 color options coming in soon. But, as the spring, summertime starts to roll around, we're going to be getting into lower cut socks, socks that are more suitable for runners, corner crew socks, no-show socks, all of that. Yeah. So it's just like super quality socks for people in any sport. Because that's one of the main things of feedback that I've gotten from people is, do I have socks of different height? All my socks are basically like 7-inch crew socks. But we want to bring in those quarter crew socks for the summertime. People with the larger calves, they tend to like those ones a lot better. And then also the running socks with like the little tabs on the back of them. We're going to be using some good quality. We'll either use our incredible material for that, or I have access to making them out of recycled plastic water bottles, and they're very breathable socks as well. So, kind of adds. I know it's strange what you can do. It's called. That
seems strange to me.
It is.
Okay.
I know. So the yarn itself.
But it's good.
Yeah. It's good.
It's good.
It's good for the planet. It's actually a really high quality material. It's called Reprieve yarn. So it's basically just like upcycled, but it's still super quality and very breathable sock. Excellent for people who are running. So yeah, we're definitely going to be getting into some more spring, summertime apparel.
Will those be themed like mountains as well, or are you gonna? How are you gonna brand those?
Yeah. So I mean, we basically have our little logo on the foot. We'll do something fun on there. I don't want to divulge too much because it's more of a surprise. Right. But shh, you didn't hear it here. But yeah, it'll be. I think it'll be great. I think people are gonna really enjoy them.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's get away from your business for a second, but let's keep it in Washington State.
Sure.
So when you're not out peddling socks, what do you do for fun and excitement besides downhill skiing, which you've already disclosed? Yeah,
exactly. So I mean, when I'm not, not peddling socks or skiing, I'm out usually hiking. I love doing some hikes around Washington. There's so much beauty to go see. Also, I'm a big fan of road trips. So I'll try and, take a trip out east, maybe go over to like Idaho, Montana, spend some time out there. Most recently, I've been kind of obsessed with, Arizona, Utah, those more western, southern states that you never really think about them, but they are very, very beautiful. So I'm trying to do a lot more sightseeing that way. Yeah.
Okay. So where's your favorite place to go skiing in Washington?
Yeah, good question. So, used to be Stevens Pass. I loved going to Stevens growing up because it was my home mountain. But I mean, during the most recent acquisition from Vail, it's really just become packed with people, and it's if you're going on it's bad. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's bad. Okay, it's real packed. I mean, it's good for the mountain and all that, but it is not enjoyable if you're skiing. So now we got a new mountain that I like to go to. It's a little further up north. I like to go over to Mount Baker. Mount Baker's become one of my favorite mountains to go skiing on now. The snow is awesome. It's just a beautiful drive up there in general. And I personally love the North Cascades myself. I think that's one of the most beautiful areas in Washington. So, the views are just next level. Super fun. So I love skiing Baker.
Have you ever gone over to Loop Loop and skied up there at the bowl?
No.
Up in Okanagan?
Oh, no. Yeah, no. Is that good?
I don't know. I don't ski. I don't know. It's great. It's the best. No, I don't know. I've never been. I tried skiing once back in the day when just skiing and I did not get along. So
I understand.
I do know that not Baker. Mission Ridge just opened their new lift.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
It's supposed to be quite cool, but and that's just up the road from us. But I don't.
I understand. Actually, I don't know if you can see this right now, but I got a boot on. Had a nice little tumble. Over on Schweitzer, over in Idaho. I know, it's very fashionable. So figured out I just fractured my fibula. So my season's done.
Okay, and so that's going to impair some hiking too.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully it'll be healed in about 4 to 6 weeks. But definitely it was slipped on a patch of ice and took a nice tumble down the mountain. So thought it was just a muscle strain at first, but I been walking on it for like 2 weeks now, and it's just been like hurting a lot. So I went to the clinic, walk-in clinic, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it's hurting because it's fractured." So I'm like, "Oh, okay, perfect. I guess that's that." So got a nice boot.
So how about hiking? Where's a hike that is maybe? Well, I don't want you to give away like like your secret. You don't want it to turn out to be like Stevens, right? But like, what's something that's off the beaten path, if you will, that's a great hike in Washington?
Yeah. Let's think about this one. I just did, for the first time, Oyster Dome up north in Bellingham. Beautiful hike. I think it's like maybe 3-4 miles up. But you got some insane views of the sound. It's just such a nice, peaceful area up in Bellingham. I'm also a big brewery guy myself. I love a good beer. So, getting back from those hikes and just going to a nice local brewery in Bellingham, I love it. If I had any place in Washington where I'd spend the rest of my life, it'd definitely be Bellingham. Love that place.
Okay. Yeah. So tell me more about that.
Yeah.
What's about Bellingham that you like, and that you're making that statement?
Yeah. It's a bold statement. I know.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I just love Bellingham in general. I mean, there's a small town aspect to it. It's very, very nice town to be in. A lot of microbreweries, which is what I love going to. But there's also just so much access to nature. You have you can go skiing at Mount Baker. You can go hiking at Oyster Dome. You can go. You're a rock throw away from Vancouver whenever we can go back there. there. I love Canada.
Right.
Love Canada. I'm actually a Canadian citizen myself too. So I love going to Vancouver, seeing my family over there. And it's just, I just like the chill vibes of the whole town. I'm about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bellingham's great. That was a bold statement. You had to back it up.
I have to. Well, there it is.
So put you on the spot about Bellingham still. You're not done yet. Brewery. What brewery? Pick one.
Aslan.
Why?
Why not? It's they got great food. They got great beers. Started by like 2 local guys as well. So, I mean, overall speaking, I'm a big fan of of a successful entrepreneurial story, and Aslan's definitely that. So,
okay,
yeah.
What type of beers do you tend to go for?
I'm more of a pale ale kind of guy. Okay. I dabble with the hazy IPAs. My girlfriend, she's much more into like the piney IPAs, the hoppier ones. I like to joke around. She kind of like enjoys drinking motor oil. But it's okay. She calls me a floral kind of guy. So,
Okay. All right.
That's our dynamic. So
there you go.
Yeah.
So I guess then you probably are like a decaf coffee drinker then too, or something like that.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves there, Scott. Why would I? Absolutely.
Sorry, I couldn't take that. I had to take that.
Are you an IPA guy?
No, I'm not. Oh. First off, I don't know what happened at some point in the last few years. I went from like, I'd go have a beer and it would wake up the next day after one beer feeling like I had 12 too many. And it's like, it doesn't agree with me anymore. And I love beer.
Damn.
But I kind of like porters and stouts.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I want to be able to put my fork in it and it stands up straight, so that's kind of what I liked.
Yeah.
But I've kind of moved into ciders.
Nice.
They don't hurt like beers do.
Oh, that's brutal. So, yeah.
It's just, so anyway,
what's your go-to cider right now?
Ooh. I have been drinking the New England Amber by Locust cider. Yeah. They're cool. I like what they're doing as a company, and their New England Amber kind of winter cider is delicious.
Nice.
So that's my go-to. Thanks for putting me on the spot. I had to look.
Of course.
This is my show.
It's only fair, right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So, well, I teased you about decaf, but how about coffee?
Love coffee. Love it.
All right. Well, you're living in Seattle, so there's no choices to be had.
No, exactly. So, yeah. If you don't like coffee and you live in Seattle, you should probably figure out something else.
Move to Bellingham.
Yeah, move to Bellingham. Go to England and drink some tea.
There you go, drink tea. The weather's the same. You'll fit right.
Actually, you know what? If you're in Seattle, you might be a yerba mate fan too.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
I'm all about it. I'm all about yerba, but coffee's my go-to. Okay, well, it's my first love.
So, where's a great place in the Seattle area that you like to go for coffee?
Yeah, I have so many spots. So I'm gonna give you my top 2. Okay. So there is a coffee shop over in Green Lake. It's called Retreat.
Okay.
Yep. It's a little bougier, a little more millennial, which is what it decided to do. But like, it's definitely, they got you some good coffee there. They have amazing food. They got the classic millennial meal is like avocado toast and like a Americano. So, I'm spending way too much money on avocado toast. That's what I do.
Okay.
Okay. But that's a great one. And then there's also one over in Lower Queen Anne. I love going to it. It's very European, but it's called La Marzocco. And it's in the KEXP building. You been?
Yeah. And that's the manufacturer of the espresso machines.
Yeah. Exactly. You got it. Yeah. So I love going to those two. Smaller shops, just to plug the smaller shops in Seattle, because I totally believe in them. There was one that was just around the corner from my house over in Ballard. It's called Cafe Bambino.
Okay.
Yep. And they're Lower Finney Ridge, kind of a few blocks away from the Goodwill in Ballard. But they've been around since, the early 1900s, and they make a mean coffee. Big fan of them. And then there's another one that has amazing pastries over on Finney Ridge. It's called Celine, and it's owned by this nice couple. I think they're I don't know. They're definitely immigrants, which is awesome. So they bring in a lot of like fresh, delicious, like pure European pastries, coffee, all that. It's phenomenal.
So, we've already proven that you're a IPA drinker. So what type of coffee do you drink? How do you order? What order do you order when you're drinking coffee?
Yes. So, I mean, I can range. I have many different interests in my coffee, but there's certain times of the day where I have certain coffees. So standard coffee I'll have, usually it's just a standard drip, kind of boring. But does the job and it's good.
It does.
It's good. Definitely a fan of the French press coffee though. Okay. French press is my go-to. When I need something that's a little stronger, I need like that kick. I usually go for like an Americano. But the one that really gets me going are those cold brews. Nitro cold brews. It's like a slap of caffeine to the face. So if I have a lot of stuff I got to get done, get my little to-do list going, and I slam back some cold brew, and I'm like, pfft. Next thing I know, it's 5:30 and I missed a podcast episode. So for those who don't get it, I was 18 minutes late to this episode. So
that's awesome. No, Nitro Cold Brew. There's some. Yes, I am a big fan of Nitro Cold Brew.
Big fan. That's so underrated.
And I'm trying to talk the wife into letting me have a Nitro kit at home for coffee. Haven't gotten there yet. Maybe this episode.
Honestly, this can change it. So, weekends when I'm like laying back or I want to treat myself, it's a vanilla latte, no question about it, with oat milk because I'm also a millennial. That's how we do it. And for those who can't see the screen, Scott's laughing.
No one's going to see the screen.
Yeah, Scott's laughing his ass off right now.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, so oat milk, it's the future, man. It's so good. I know it's just like it's just like water and like oats mixed together, but it's so good. But I'm telling you, Scott, those are my fancy days. Those are my weekends. Okay? We're entitled to weekend drinks.
You are. Oh, what about? So I always, this seems to be my go-to question lately is asking people about lunch spots. We've already talked about avocado toast, but where's someplace in the area that maybe a little off, like I keep saying, the off the beaten path, but where do you go where's a cool spot for lunch?
Oh man. I'm gonna have to run through my lunch list here. You want more millennial stuff? I'm gonna have to run through my Uber Eats list, see what's up. Man, okay, I'm a huge fan of Thai food. Like Thai food's my be all end all. Like if I'm having a bad day, Thai is the way. There's this spot, it's over near, it's like in Inner Bay area. It's called Tuk Tuk Thai. Man, that stuff is good. I usually I get the chicken pad CU and sometimes a little pad Thai. Sometimes I get this crispy chicken dish. It's so good. But it's lovely. Owned by a lovely couple again. Tuk Tuk Thai. It's over in like Magnolia, Inner Bay area, across the street from the Pagliacci's.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I love. Yeah, I think out of all my Uber Eats thing, when my girlfriend and I are trying to figure out what to eat, it's always Tuk Tuk. That's like the fallback.
That's the fallback.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
All right. Okay.
So
we've covered your food.
She's gonna laugh so hard when she hears this episode.
That's half the fun of it,
a few
right?
times in this thing. So
yeah, that's half the fun of it. It's like getting to know people from a little bit different angle. There's more to you than your business, and and not that there's anything wrong with business because there's not, because I'm all for it too. But there's always kind of like finding out more about the people and what they're doing it's always fun.
Definitely. So
speaking of fun, I always like to ask you. You must have had an epic failure in your business career, something that you thought was going to be, brilliant and it failed, or maybe not. But what lesson have you learned? Has there been a hey, this would be a great idea, and then it just didn't work?
Oh yeah. Okay, so I was in college. And, when you're in college, you have this like weird arrogance about you where you think you know everything because you've taken like 5 or 6 classes and you're like, I'm suddenly the expert on everything. So I had this like weird air about me where I was just like, oh man, I want to create the next like social media app that's going to blow up and take off and it's going to be my life. And oh man, I was so convinced this was going to work. So convinced. So it was this like social media app. It was called we were going to call it Tribe. And it was basically it was like an app kind of like Tinder, kind of like friends.com, where it's like you could meet new people in the city who have similar interests as you. And, you know, you can connect with them, go out and do stuff. And you basically fill out like a kind of like a profile about what you like. So you go in and you like basically fill this information out. You can connect with locals. You know, it would have been great for people who are moving to the city and don't know anybody. So I mean, again, I think it was like my junior year of college. I was like 20, 21. And I was like, this is going to be the next big thing. Like, I know exactly what I'm doing. And as I started like going in, I think I spent more time kind of creating the name and the concept versus like actually doing the work to get it done. But I realized, you know, I was a kid and I had like an entrepreneurship degree with like a comm focus and like sales, but I had zero technical coding experience. I had like no idea what the hell is supposed to like be an app and how to do that. And so I thought to myself, oh, it's fine. If I don't know this, I'll just find somebody who knows it. And so I'd like connected with like some people over in like the informatics program over at UW. And I was like, you guys want to start this app with me? And they're like, oh yeah, totally. And first meeting we got in there, I was like, okay, here are like the mock-ups of like what we should have, blah, blah, blah. Code it. And they looked at me like, what? You want me to what? Do you understand like the intricacies that come behind like starting an app or like actually like creating it or updating it? And I spent like probably, you know, like 5-6 days a week trying to figure out and wrap my head around like the art of coding. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on here. I don't know any of this stuff. Like, what am I doing? I've told so many people that I'm going to start this app and I don't even know how to start. So, you know, I probably went through like 5 or 6 months of me just being super hyped on this like app idea. And turns out I didn't even know how to freaking code or create an app. And, you know, shortly after that, like, I think my like best coder like was like, yeah, I got a job somewhere else. I'm going to go and do that. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. I don't know anything anymore. So, massive failure, Tribe. It's supposed to be,
but you must have learned something from it.
Oh, yeah.
Besides that, you don't know how to code. Because neither do I. I mean,
totally.
You know,
yeah, I did learn a lot from it actually. So, you know, as a 21-year-old, like I learned really how to like, you know, have ideas for things, plan them out, figure out like what we want things to look like, figure out how to like, you know, work together on a team and like recruit and interview people. And then really work collaboratively to build something. And I actually took that lesson that I learned of like sketching all these mock-ups and trying to make things look pretty and all that. And I applied it to actually making my website from the ground up. Like I now know, okay, this is exactly what I want the website to look like. Here's how I can do it. Thank God there is a thing called Shopify, which is like such an easy to use platform if you want to start a website, because you don't have to know how to code to do it. And you can really make things, you can really focus on like the aesthetics of things. So definitely learned a lot from trying and failing with this social media idea I had.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's actually a great story. I mean, I'm not going to share you my college arrogant idea because it was a long time ago.
No, you should. I think the listeners want to know.
Actually, so here's the idea I had in college was I was doing an internship at a real estate brokerage. Now, this is back before the internet. Like when you look at houses now, you know, there's a word that, you know, it starts with the Z and ends with a W, and we all know exactly that's where everybody goes, right? But real estate agents back then would use this mimeographed book and be flipping through pages to look for houses. And this office I was working in had an old, and you can look it up to see how old it is, an old Osborne portable computer. And by portable, that's the size of a sewing machine, and it weighed 20 pounds. You know, it wasn't. It had a little 4-inch screen. I thought, wouldn't it be cool if somebody could go here and just type in looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house? So I was taking a database programming class in college, and kind of like you, I realized really quickly. I didn't know how to code, even though I was in a database programming class.
Yeah.
And so it fell nowhere. And so
it's lovely.
But somebody's made a lot of money off of that idea.
Somebody,
you know, I can't claim it was mine.
Somebody probably made a lot of money off of Tribe. Like they probably took it and ran. So,
well, yeah, I think that's a great concept actually. So yeah, you know, what you had. So,
yeah, but no, I get it. Like, you know, we learn things quickly about ourselves and we realize like, this isn't really worth my time. So
coding is, no, ones and zeros are hard.
Nah. Like
I'm totally enamored with people who can figure that stuff out, and I'm grateful for them, but I am not one of them.
Nope, me neither. So that we both know that about ourselves though.
Right. So what, let me ask you this question. We'll begin to wrap this up. So like 5 years from now, where do you think From the Ground Up's going to be? I mean, what do you got? You got a 5-year plan?
I don't even have a 5-year plan.
Okay,
yeah, no, it's true. I don't necessarily have a 5-year plan. I just don't know where things could be in 5 years. But I do know
people will still have feet.
This is true. This is very true. So, that, people are always going to have feet. The way I kind of go about with my business, and maybe this isn't the wisest way to do it, is I kind of fly by the seat of my pants. An idea hits me one day and I'm like, oh man, that's a really cool idea. I should definitely explore that. And then I'll try it and I'll fail, or I'll learn and it'll succeed. And we kind of take it from there. I know for a fact that, I want to continue to grow the brand. I want to continue to introduce new product. I want to get us into more and more wholesale and retail locations. I want to continue to grow our presence in our community online. And I want to continue to give back to the environment and to the trails. So, yeah.
So let's circle back. So I kind of overlooked that. So 5% of every purchase is donated to the Washington Trails Association. I may be the only person that won't know the answer to this question that's listening, but so what? Tell us a little bit about the Washington Trails Association. I knew.
Yeah, I know.
Help us out. You
can't own an account called Explore Washington State and not know WTA. But so Washington Trails Association, they're the local nonprofit here in Washington State, and they focus on the education, maintenance, and preservation of our trails and public lands. So, we have 3,500 trails here in Washington State. More and more hikers getting out there. They're really about educating new hikers on, hiking etiquette, getting them outdoors, letting them experience the beauty of our state has to offer. They also host like trail work parties where you can go and, maintain a trail or update something. And it's really a cool way to kind of give back to our trails. With a nonprofit doing the work that they're doing, they're also the champions in getting legislator to pass in Washington state government to help protect and preserve the environment as well. So, I love supporting a nonprofit like them. And I believe that, if you are a hiker, you should be giving back to the trails. So, why not? If you're going to be wearing a pair of hiking socks, they may as well give back to the trails that you hike on. So, so that's why I love working with WTA. We've had a really good working relationship for the last 2 years, and each year we start to see a bigger and bigger donation for them. And I think that's really, it's really a testimony to how much people actually want to give back to the environment. And it really does keep me motivated to keep doing what I do. I think this last year we just donated about $3,500 to the Trails Association. This year I have a more lofty goal. I want to be able to donate about $10,000 to the WTA. Hopefully getting on podcasts like this, introducing us to more, wholesale locations, even doing the custom designs. I do a lot of custom designs for companies, for people, whether it's you want to make a beanie or a t-shirt or a sticker or socks or whatever, I can help you out with those. I still donate 5% of those profits to WTA. So there's a lot of avenues for me to give back. And I want to continue to give back as much as I can. So that's definitely a big goal of mine. And, if we can hit 10K by the end of this year, I'll call it a success.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's great.
Thanks.
Anything else that we didn't cover? Is there a question I didn't ask you that you want, what did I miss? Or did?
No, I can't think of anything. I think we kind of covered all the bases.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I appreciate being on that podcast here. I think what you're doing is an awesome thing. And I love, getting to connect with more and more people who are obsessed with the outdoors as you are. And I think that, yeah.
Well, that's, I must confess that is a complete misnomer. I am obsessed with sitting in front of my computer screen. It's the other people on the team that are the outdoors folks. I literally, guys, I'm the guy behind a computer screen.
Well, somebody has to do it, right?
Yes. Yeah, somebody has to. But,
Yeah.
no, a lot of people on the team are hikers and totally, like you said, are into the outdoors. And I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate it. But I'd have to be helped off a hike if it had any elevation gain. My driveway is more of a hike. I'm sharing way too much. That all being said, where can people find you online? Why don't you go ahead and tell them where's the great places to find you?
Yeah. So we're on Instagram. Our handle is FTGU Socks. And that's basically just the From the Ground Up acronym. So you can find us on Instagram. You can come to our website. It's ftgusocks.com. We have a newsletter that you can subscribe to where every Friday we give you a new trail that you can go and explore. We also offer you, cool. We also offer you like discounts and early access to new merchandise dropping. So it's a really great newsletter. Join that and you can kind of stay in touch with what we're up to. And then, you can find us on Facebook at FTGU Socks. And there we are. And if you're in the Washington area, you need to pick up some socks or some face masks. Go to one of our retail partners. PCC is an awesome one. We'd love to continue to prove ourselves in sales for them, so that way they can keep carrying us and keep our momentum going. So go support, go pick it up over at PCC. You can meet us at any of the local farmers markets. We're always at the Fremont Sunday Market over in Seattle. We'll be doing the Lake Stevens Market up north as well, starting in June. And you can also order directly off of our website, and we do delivery. So yeah.
On Uber Eats?
That's right. Uber Eats. Exactly.
All right. Well, hey, thanks for making this happen. Really appreciate your time and all the best.
Thank you, Scott. Appreciate it. All right. Take care.
Join us next time for another episode of the Exploring Washington State podcast.